Hello there, I'm Scotty, you're not. It's the leg. Welcome to number 9 of Pick 10 90's. A 2. We're doing Dumb and Dumber, which came out in the year of 1994, in which Jim Carrey had 3 big films that came out that year. This, Ace Ventura, which I already reviewed in this Pick 10 90 series, and The Mask, which I reviewed previously. So, yeah, big year for him. And then also this year, Jeff Daniels, who plays Harry, will go on to play Harry in Speed. 2 different Harrys there, but the story of this film is that Lloyd Christmas is a limo driver who drives a woman to the airport, and he sees her leave a briefcase, so he tries to get to her, but can't get to her before the plane leaves, so he and Harry travel cross country to Aspen in Colorado to give the briefcase back to her. But not as all it seems with this briefcase. So that's the premise of this film. This is probably my least favorite of the 3 Jim Carrey movies that came out in '94. I love The Mask. I really liked Ace Ventura, despite the fact that I said I usually prefer the second one over that one. This one, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Out of the 3 Dumb and Dumber films, I've seen this, and I've seen at least half of the second one. I remember going to the theater to see it, but I won't tell the story. I won't tell the story when I review that movie. Or why I don't remember half that movie, and I remember only half of it. So, where do I start here? Perhaps with the 2 lead actors, Jim Carrey. Howard? No. Harold? Fuck is your name? Jeff Daniels. Howard Harold. Harry is his character's name. Maybe that's why I got confused. So we have Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels playing Lloyd and Harry. 2 goofball friends who live together and are struggling to pay rent. Lloyd is a limo driver. Harry is a dog groomer and has recently spent a lot of money to turn their van into a dog. It looks like a dog. So, one of the more iconic images of this is that dog-shaped van. So Lloyd, like I said, is driving this woman. I don't remember her name, but driving to the airport, and he sees her put the briefcase down and then walk away from it. Okay, so here's already my issue as to why this wouldn't work as a okay, so she puts the money down. Lloyd sees it and he goes and he scoops it up. It turns out this briefcase. This Scotty cannot speak English today. This briefcase is actually full of money that is for a ransom for her husband who has been kidnapped by somebody. And so they had her just drop it, leave it in the middle of the airport, and take off for Aspen. Why? Why not just do a handoff? Why leave it, because like if she sets it down and walks away, if Lloyd didn't see it, somebody else probably would have, you know. Dee sees it, tries to take it to her, but the plane's already taken off, so he jumps off the little, you know, when you go into. I've never been on a plane. I've never been in an airport. I've never been in an airway, but there's a little thing that takes you through. Sometimes they stretch it out, that sort of thing, and he ends up falling off of it, you know. So he just takes it back, and then he comes up with the idea to take it to her in Aspen. Harry is against it at first, but they decide to go. Meanwhile, there are these two thugs, I'll call them, trying to get to them. They think they're the gas man. This guy, one character trait, he's played by Mike Starr. His one character trait that he has an ulcer. From the beginning, he's taking these pills, they're like, oh, your ulcer again? Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. Take them. Okay, that's gonna be his undoing. And it does, because they put peppers on his burger, and it causes him an ulcer, and he fucking dies. On this road trip, though, there's that. And then there is the thing with Seabass, where the guy, it's the salt thing, but he throws, you know, when you spill salt, you're supposed to put some over your shoulder, right? But he throws the whole salt shaker and hits Seabass. So he gets pissed. And then they don't have money to pay for the food, so they tell Seabass, hey, you know what? We'll buy you a couple beers. And he's like, make it 4 Boilermakers. All right. And so they go over to the waitress, and he's like, they're like, hey, Seabass said that he would pay for our meals. And they're like, Seabass? Like, yeah, that gentleman over there is named Seabass. And he's like, because he's asking for the Boilermakers. She's like, all right, and then they take off on him. That's probably the smartest thing that Lloyd does in this movie, to be honest. But yeah, so they get all the way to Aspen. There's an argument, because there has to be an argument where they break up, but they kind of do it twice here. They split up. They have enough of this road trip. And then it turns out that Lloyd sold the van for a little crotch rocket motorcycle thing. And we get the, you totally redeemed yourself line from Harry. He's like, just when I think you could do something dumber, totally redeem, you do this. And totally redeem yourself, or something like that. And so they make it to Aspen, driving in the cold. They make it there, and they discover that there's money inside of the briefcase. And instead of thinking this could be important to her, they're trying to give it back to this woman. They're not thinking it's her money. They're like, no, we're gonna spend it, and just put a bunch of IOUs in there. Yeah. So, some confusion happens here for me. So, Lloyd is nervous to talk to her, and so he has Harry do it. And Harry decides to lie to Lloyd and tell him, oh, he's going to meet you at 10. She's going to meet you at 10 a.m. at the bar. You meet her there. And there's this one African-American woman there. They find out later it's an FBI agent. FBI agent. Which is funny because Harry ends up working with them. So this is how he gets into the FBI after this. Like, Speed actually takes place after this, and he changes his last name to Temple and moves to California or whatever because an FBI agent. Oh, the FBI agent line is from Point Break, not Speed, but still, I like that line. So, if you're one of the viewers, you already know by now that this was ransom money to get back this woman's husband. And then they introduced Charles Rocket. He walks in and sits on the couch, starts talking, and I went, He did it. Like, I've seen this. I think I watched this once before because I think I watched bits and pieces of it when I was younger. My grandpa had this movie. So, and then I watched this before we went to see Dumb and Dumber 2 because I wanted to get a good watch through. I hadn't seen it since 2014. So, or 2015, whenever it came out. So I barely remember anything from it. But as soon as Charles Rocket came in and sat down, I went, he did it. There's something about Charles Rocket where he did it. Especially when he comes in, he starts talking, and he lights a cigarette. And it's like, that's an evil villain thing. It's like, okay, no. By the way, you're in this expensive home in Aspen. Go outside, you asshole. It's in a nice little mansion, and you're gonna pollute it with cigarette smoke. Fuck you. Go outside. You know what I mean? Like, if it was like Harry and Lloyd's place, go ahead. But like, especially in the 90s. But this place is like a mansion. No. And the hotel that Harry and Lloyd stay at here is actually the Overlook Hotel. Yeah, watch out for Jack Nicholson. It's funny though, because Lloyd is staying there. Lloyd, I'll have a drink. You know. Yeah, so Harry goes out skiing with this woman, whose name I still can't remember. And then Lloyd decides, okay, he's going to go over to the house and talk to him. And she sees, or talks to her, and he sees Harry drop her off. In the car they bought with that money, by the way. And so he gets all... Oh, I forgot about the cop. There's this stupid-ass scene. It's really not in the movie, where they're driving. And this is just after they got, they did the thing to sea bass. And then Lloyd remarks about something like, where'd you come up with the idea? Well, I saw it in a movie, so they got away with it in the movie? No. Guys caught up with them and they slit their throats. Huh? And he's like, whatever. He's like, Harry, I don't want to bug you, but if you're ready to stop, I need to pee real bad. He's like, I'm not going to stop now. After that, and so he has him pee in beer bottles, glass beer bottles. And so because Lloyd tells the story, he's driving faster. And a cop shows up, played by, what's his name from Rocket Man? Yeah. It's not right here where I need to look at it. Rocketeer, right here. Harlan Williams. I kept thinking Harold. Harlan Williams, who is one of the greatest outrageous comedians, but he's a little subdued here. But he does this thing where he thinks they're drinking beer. He goes, "Give me one of those." He's like, "No, that's shh." Drinks it, goes or whatever. Anyway, so Lloyd decides, decides he's going to take her out again. So he's basically, oh! I forgot to mention, there's one scene in this movie that is very important if you are going to watch the sequel. Okay? Towards the beginning of the film, Harry and Lloyd are talking about Frida Felcher. And Harry said that he had a bad breakup with a girl, and Lloyd's like, "Oh yeah? Who?" He's like, "Remember Frida Felcher?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember." Yeah, he's like, "I remember her. I remember you talking about her a lot." Okay, and it mentions that she broke up with him, and he thinks that she was seeing another man, which of course is Lloyd, and this ties into the sequel, as far as I can remember. So there's that. But yes. Anyway, Harry decides he's gonna go on a date with this woman rather than, and I don't know what's supposed to be going on. Why she like her husband's been kidnapped. I don't understand. Maybe I missed something. I don't understand why she's like, she had a good day with Harry, which cheered her up, and now she's just going on a date with him or something. And so Lloyd, of course, figured this out, and so he sets them up with coffees, but he puts laxative in Harry's coffee. So he drinks it. He's like, you know. So he gets there, and she's like, come in. I'll be done, ready in just a minute. So he runs to the bathroom because he's got the shits, right? And he's sitting there, and we get the legendary scene from this movie where he's just shitting in the toilet. And the comedy is great in this. It's just the looks on his face, like they weren't doing the sounds, I don't think, at the same time. So he had to do this reaction without the sounds, which is really good. And and then she comes in and she says, I hope you're not using the toilet. It's broken. It doesn't work. He's like, and so he takes it and he dumps it out the window. Apparently that's only in the unrated version. I didn't think this was an unrated version. Right, okay. I didn't look at the case. Unrated. Okay. Don't really notice anything unrated. There's no boobs or anything, so I don't know. It's just like extra scenes that they took out that they added back in. I don't know. But there's another scene I want to talk about. What was it? Oh, the dream sequence. So there's the dream sequence that has that song, I love the flower girl. That song where Lloyd is imagining him bringing the money to the woman, and she's all happy, and it's not just that he's happy, she's happy, and she kisses him. They have an evening together with all these people. He's telling jokes, he's farting and making the flames go up, he's doing fart stuff, and they're laughing, and then it gets to doing the sex. And what I like is, pulls down her dress, right? And this is where the unrated would come in handy, because it pans down, and you think, are we going to see boobs? They're headlights. Literal headlights. And it turns out he's been driving this whole time. Which you kind of already know when it started, but, he's been driving this whole time. The thing is, he doesn't know where Aspen is, even though they're driving there. And so when he, in his little dream sequence, Aspen is all nice and sunny. There's flowers and bushes everywhere. But no, Aspen is cold. Colorado, for God's sake. But anyway, so he figured out that Lloyd did it, but Lloyd shows up during this and tells her he has the briefcase. She barely recognizes him, and he's like, "Oh, I have your briefcase." She's like, "You have the briefcase?" So they go back to the hotel to get the briefcase, and that's when the Charles Rocket shows up and reveals himself as the bad guy. And so he has the gun on them. He's got them handcuffed to the bed, and then Harry comes in, and the woman who's the FBI agent is like, "Hey, Harry, come here." And it cuts. And then he comes back. He walks in the room and he's like, "Oh, hey, you guys are okay. I'll be fine." And then he gets handcuffed too, and they get in an argument. They're like, you suck, that sort of thing. And I don't remember any dialogue from this for some reason. I don't know why. It's one of the scenes that people point out, but they're like, "Yeah, kiss my ass, kiss her right here, kiss her on my cheek," or something like that. And these people could definitely shoot themselves, but Harry reveals he has a gun, and is a terrible shot. Like, "Harry, you have a gun. You're a terrible shot." But the FBI comes in to save the day, and they're like, he's like, "Hey, her." He's like, "I'm FBI agent." He's like, "Huh? Yeah, they gave me a vest and a gun." And Harry's all happy about it. He's proud about it. And Lloyd says, what if they shot you in the head? He's like, what if they shot me in the head? And she's like, oh, we thought it was worth the risk. So, yeah, just one last gag, though. They get the husband back, and he hugs his wife. He's like, I'm going to introduce you to one of the nicest guys I've ever met. A real sweetheart. And then Lloyd just grabs the gun and just shooting the guy. Die, 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 die. It's another dream sequence. Like, yeah. And he's shaking the guy's hand. You can hear crunching bones. It's like, then they're just going to walk back. Really? I guess they took all their stuff because of money. But I guess that's why they don't complain. I was like, why don't they complain about the money being missing? Probably because they found out they spent it on all that stuff, so they're taking that back, I guess. But they walk, and there's one more gag after this, I guess, where they're walking down the road, and these bikini girls drive up, and like, hey, do you know 2 guys who can help rub us down for a few days on the road? And they're like, no, don't know anybody. And then they drive off, and they're like, there's one day there's gonna be 2 lucky guys that are gonna be. I'm like, you idiots! That could have been you. That could have been you. And they just walk off playing a little tag thing, and that's the end of the movie. I'll still say it's pretty good, but it is my least favorite of the 3 that came out in '94 that Jim Carrey did. But it's not bad. Have I been crooked this whole freaking time? Or now it's more crooked. No. All right. No. Okay. You want me to restart my phone? I'm like, no. I'm not. 5. Don't care. Next one is City Slickers, because that's the only one left. So that's the only time where the rolling the dice thing doesn't really work. But City Slickers is next. So what are your thoughts on Dumb and Dumber? Dumb and Dumber. What are your thoughts on Dumb and Dumber? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I can speak English. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.